Now we'll have a presentation by Patancheru, who is the Director of Techno Marketing, and his talk will be Techmode Agriculture Knowledge Sharing, Recent Trends and Emerging Opportunities. Because he's mostly talking about the Adobe Connect, which is the platform which we are using. Perhaps that may be of interest to you, how it can be utilized in your institute also.
I can go next. It's okay, I can use the laptop. Suprabhat everyone. Once again, I know it's going to be a long session. I'll try and keep it short and sweet. You want me to come here? I want you to have a look at the slides. So I'm not going to be doing PowerPoint, death by PowerPoint, but rather first run you through Adobe Connect, the platform, and subsequently we'll get into a demo session as well. Yeah, so in case there are any questions, which I heard there were quite a few, while Mr. Modi was doing the wonderful session before this. So I'll be happy to take them on. You can just interrupt me wherever you want. I just need to go manually with the slides, so I'm just stepping here. Firstly, this is just a rough agenda that I had set for the presentation today. Some of the common web conferencing challenges, an overview of Adobe Connect, which anyway is getting, is deployed here at ICRISAT, and many of other customers within India and globally, of course. And demonstration, the order is not, it's not sacrosanct. We'll first take on a few examples, and then maybe if time permits, take on a demo now, or maybe take it up later, post-lunch session. So these are some of the web conferencing challenges that we hear and we find customers facing every day. Firstly, not everyone can get into our meeting. That's the biggest entry barrier, so to speak. We were talking about, I think somebody mentioned about Vivek, there's Citrix, there's so many platforms out there. There's Skype, of course, if you want to do one-to-one, and small little groups if you want to. And the biggest challenge with everybody is, especially in today's IT environment where everything is getting locked down. You don't have, the IT departments are locking down the desktop, so you can't really install anything. While earlier that meant that people would have to download a client in order to get into a meeting or a web conference. But today, that means that people might not be able to get into a meeting room at all because of lockdown environment, which means that you have to pick up the phone, speak to IT, ask them to open the desktops, allow them to install. So that's a huge disadvantage, right? So people cannot enter into the meetings. You need to have separate client downloads. Meeting rooms are completely inflexible, so you're kind of working in a very boxy, lockdown environment again, which you cannot adapt and modify based on your requirements. Right? Then we can't share rich media effectively, which again is a problem. You want to share different set of files, documents, videos. So you need to ensure that the client has the requisite players or codecs or whatever installed on the machines in order to be, interact or even view those content that you want to share. Right? E-learning challenges, it takes way too long to create e-learning content. Typically we've seen it takes about, if you were to involve designers, developers, subject matter experts, people to deploy, track, enroll students, it's at least about a 10 to 15 week exercise to create content and deploy it. Right? But we are talking about leveraging existing content which is there in PowerPoint or rapid training. That's what we call it at Adobe. Right? And it takes too hard to convert my PowerPoint into e-learning. So most of the subject matter experts, could I see a raise of hands, how many people actually use PowerPoints here for the content or sharing, if at all? Right? Most of us have used PowerPoint at some point or the other. Right? So it would be a rare situation where you won't have your content in PowerPoint or some MS so-called extension. Now the challenge is, how do you get these content into your e-learning or your web conferencing program? or your scheme of things. Right? So that again, you pass it on to the developer, the designer, and you get a reply, oh, it's going to take 4 weeks, 6 weeks, I'm busy with this, I'm busy with that. Programming has to be done, you need to create visuals. But what if you could reuse that content yourself, add rich animations, add your audio, video, add quizzes, which can then be tracked by platform, an LMS, which is COM or AICC compliant. Right? Then it is difficult to track student progress. So that's the next step. Once you've deployed it, you need to track student progress as well. So again, you're trying to use different systems and to track. Maybe it's a Moodle, maybe it's a sum total, maybe it's a. We heard Dr. Ramesh, they're using Sakai as their LMS in University of Florida. Right? So there are a whole lot of LMSs which are there, standard LMSs out there, or at least 6 to 7 or 8 of them which are in the top 10. And IT challenges again, it's expensive to manage multiple web conferencing, adoption of web conferencing minimal because people feel that you're not able to replicate the same experience which you would have in a face-to-face meeting. Right? So which people want to create, but then again there's a challenge there. How do you really create an environment which fosters or promotes or recreates that kind of interaction that you would have in a face-to-face meeting? Right, and it's hard to integrate with our systems because they are proprietary systems. You cannot today think of extending, maybe if it's a WebEx, maybe it's a Skype or anything else, integrating with your existing infrastructure. Right, so I'll come to that as well later. So those are typical IT challenges. The biggest one, of course, like I mentioned, is in a lockdown environment, you need to install the tape at least 15 minutes before the meeting. You need to get in, wait for the participants or not to be part of the meeting or the learning experience. So this is Adobe Connect. It's a complete ecosystem, and it's made of 4 components, or essentially these are different applications or modules which fit. We have Adobe Connect for web meetings. You have an underlying, of course, the Adobe Connect platform, which is the enterprise server. On top of that, I won't get too much into technicalities of it, but just so that you know. And we support both hosted and on-premise. So actually, the ma'am sitting there, I'm sorry I didn't get your name, but you were asking about, what are the pricing options. So deployment options as well. So we support both hosted as well as on-premise, which means that you could have your own piece of the cloud, so to speak, in today's parlance language. Or you want to deploy behind your own firewall within your infrastructure, you could do that as well, which is something what ICRISAT has done. Or many of our enterprise customers, so that's fine. Right, so we support both, and the third is managed services, which has best of both from the deployment perspective. The platform support, it's a rich, flexible interface, highly secure, scalable, video, audio, chat support, compliance enforcement, open and extensible. We'll see how we do that. And of course, the use cases you could use for web meetings, collaborations, you could use for e-learning, webinars, and others. And plus, of course, we use the ubiquitous Flash player for desktops. And for mobile devices, we have the free mobile apps as well, which can be used on Android, iOS devices, and BlackBerry playbooks as well. So why do our customers select Connect? There are many reasons. The first one is the ease of access. Now that's where Connect, since is based on Adobe Flash, it doesn't require any additional downloads for the clients to be part of the meeting or the learning experience. Those who've used the likes of WebEx and things, I think you mentioned that you're using practically all platforms, right? So it's working. Right, so the ease of access, the instant entry, which is because of Flash Player. So virtually anyone who's been onto YouTube, I'm sure everyone has, or Facebook or played any games online, it's all Flash. Right? The Flash is the most pervasive software on the planet today, with virtually all internet-connected browsers already Flash enabled. Right? And whether you're on a Mac, PC, or Linux. Then what about iOS devices? That's the standard question we get, because we're seeing a lot of penetration and proliferation of iOS devices. So we have the free Adobe Connect mobile app on the iTunes Store, which you can download and install. And even for Android 2.3 and above, even for BlackBerry playbooks, like I mentioned. So it's cross-platform. You have persistent URLs, which means that I can have the same URL available just like your email address or your telephone number, which can even be printed on your card, which you can share with anybody for instant on meetings. Anybody who has a URL can just get in and start off with a meeting. Right? We already talked about accessibility. Then rich experience. We do that in a number of ways. The first one, of course, is by providing you a completely customizable interface, which means I can only, you saw the ICRISAT, the live meeting, that session that we were doing, right? There was a background image of the ICRISAT, I believe that's from the campus here, right? The greens and everything in the background. Then you had, of course, the chat window, you had the camera, the audio, the presentation of the site. Now, I as a presenter can completely control and define the meeting environment that I want. So I can only keep those pods which I want to be there. It's not that you have to use the exact same interface. You can't do that with any other application. Be it the WebEx, be it Skype, of course. It's a desktop application, which means everybody needs to have Skype. Whereas here we are talking about just the browser. Today I might be using somebody else's laptop. I can just log in and get into a Connect meeting. I don't have to be on the same desktop. I don't have to download Skype or any particular application. Right, the branding again, we can customize the branding as well. Rich media support, this again is very important because you as a presenter, when you share content, you share it with confidence that whatever you're sharing will be seen by the participants exactly the same way without any additional software or hardware. Any codecs or players. Right, so everything is converted into Flash. So when you're sharing a document, you're sharing a video, you're sharing PDF, or you're doing a chat, you're doing a poll, whatever that you're doing, you already have, or participants already have what they need in order to interact and view it. Right? Then you have, secure and compliant. If you deploy it behind your firewall, you can practically control all the aspects what you want to be, people to be able to share. You can disable pods, you can disable the desktop sharing, you can do a lot of that. In fact, the biggest customer for anybody on the planet today for web conferencing is the US Department of Defense. It is running totally on Adobe Connect, and Connect was the only platform which met the stringent security and compliance standards laid down by US Department of Defense. So it's a triple authenticated system. We are supporting 5.3 million users globally. The biggest meetings, online meetings that have ever been held on this platform. And DISA, which is the Defense Information Services Agency, which handles the entire federal highway for US Department of Defense, which is all the three, Army, Navy, Air Force, and the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Secretary of Defense, and everything, Obama's office as well, is entirely running on Connect. And it played a very important role during the Iraq War and Afghan War, and even in emergency response, and all that. So that's how secure and compliant Connect is. Extensible, we have the APIs and SDKs available, so you can extend the functionality of Connect because it is based on ActionScript 3 for all those who know Flash here. You can build on top of Connect and integrate it with any ERP, CRM, or any other application. We've got some amazing, custom pods and others which are extending the functionality built on top of it. And then, of course, it's a single solution, so rather than organizations today investing in different platforms to achieve different objectives, whether it is web conferencing, training, learning, or providing remote support or anything, it's a single solution which helps to address a lot of use cases which we'll see in the next couple of slides. So this is just a number of use cases. There's a question mark below, that's up to your imagination, right? These are some of the use cases that our customers are using it for. So right from video conferencing to sales presentations to customer briefings to virtual classrooms to archive virtual classrooms to emergency response to help desk to continuing education to whatever you see in it here. These are just some of the use cases our customers are using it for. Right? This is how I think there was a question from here somewhere. How many videos can you have? Right. So you can have as many videos as the real estate and your bandwidth and your server allows you to. So there is no limit. We don't say, unlike again different platforms, that you can only have 2, 3, 4, 6 or 10. You can have as many videos as you want. But then the point is, would you really want that? In fact, there's a very interesting case, IGNU itself, which is one of our flagship customers. They're using Connect for, you have proctored exams. Now, IGNOU, as we all know, is the world's largest open university. And they have students from all across. Right? So what the team did, which is something that we didn't know, but we keep hearing of these innovative, use cases that our customers are using Connect for. They actually used it for a proctored exam. So they had a webcam for the student who was taking an exam, and I think it was Australia or somewhere else, and they've done it with many students. Because you need to have a student, you need to book a consulate or a college or a university, take up a room, have somebody physically there who is standing, maybe it's just one or two students, but then you need to have a resource who's overlooking and over the entire exam while the student is taking it. They use Connect for actually conducting those exams without anyone being there. And they were so happy. They wanted a few things built on top of this from security standpoint, but that's how innovative. And like they say, it only happens in India, right? Innovation comes out of here. So you can have as many videos, you can have discussion notes, you can have the chat pod, you can have the attendee pod, the poll, and you can customize the entire look and feel, even including the pods and everything which are there. These are just some of the customers who are using it. I'll just skip through this. Toshiba of the US, they're using it for all the trainings and everything, Six Sigma things that they do, and they really helped to reduce the cost, increase the training, quickly delivering, reducing the time to conduct the trainings, etc. This is again one of our customers, United Way, which is using it for webinars. So that's again a module that we have which allows you to do complete reporting, reminders, and tracking and creation of events online. So they're using it as well. We have SAP, which I'm sure everybody has heard of. They have completely standardized on Adobe Connect for all the customer interactions and meetings and even trainings and launching of new products. So they do it in a matter of hours and days rather than taking weeks, and reducing a lot of their travel costs. Right? So this again just numbers, but primarily this is US based, so the numbers are there. But 14 of the top 25 US companies, 6 of the top global companies as measured by Forbes. These are just some of our customers, who are there, who are using this. So again, a lot of attraction, and this is what the analysts have to say about Connect. The best user experience, and that's I think the key for Adobe's success, and the differentiator is the user experience itself, which is amazing and nothing comes close to it. And a couple of others, the Gartners and all those, who've done. It's been rated as the best virtual classroom, best seminar solution year on year. This, of course, report is from 2010 and 2011. These are again just some of the sample customers who are using it. You see right from government, federal, to universities, to non-profits, to private, to manufacturing, all kind of customers who are using it. This is what some of the customers say about Connect. You have, I think something related to you probably would be the Office of Public Health Preparedness, in terms of the organization's site. So they again are using this from Xerox to everybody else. Coming down to features, we already talked about ease of access. We have cross-platform mobile clients, of course, persistent meeting rooms as well, extensibility, richness. I'll just skip through this. That again, like I mentioned, is due to Flash-based client, removes all barriers to entry. So participants don't need anything. They just need the browser and the Flash player. That's a huge differentiator. And that's where the pain comes in. Because if you have, even WebEx, our competition or any other solution, 6.6 GoToMeeting or others which are out there, they all require the participants to download a client before they can actually enter into a meeting room. Now, on a slower connection, you'll say like, we have to at least start 15 minutes or 30 minutes before. If it fails, you have to, start again. You may or may not be able to download at all, which means that people cannot even enter the meeting room, forget about, delayed entries into the meeting room. Right? Easy to use interface, so it's based on Flash, completely flexible. This is what typically this screen that looks like. This is for using, I think, Microsoft Link or something. So you can download the plugin. If it doesn't, sitting in advanced FAQs, you see that that's a 40 MB download. Right? So it's really painful. It can be painful rather, if you have such systems, creating barriers to entry. And again, now what about mobile devices? We talked about that earlier as well. You say that there's no flash on iPhones, and people who are using iPhones and iPads, the flash does not exist. But at the same time, we have something called as Adobe Air, which uses Adobe has created mobile apps for iOS devices like iPhones and iPads, and even for Androids. You can go to the iTunes store, search for Adobe Connect mobile app, download it on the iPhone, and you can conduct virtually all the features and functionality that you do on the desktop. You can do the same using your iPhone and iPad. And connecting extremely bandwidth efficient. We can work right from dial-up to LAN. So you don't need, broadband connections. Of course, the faster connections you have, better the user experience, no doubt. But we've actually showcased when people are using Connect with dial-ups with as little as just 56 kbps. So depending on what your content is, you can actually use Connect for reaching out to remote areas. And countries like India, and the so-called, an IT or a knowledge-based economy and everything and all that, with very high IT penetration. But the fact of the matter is, you go to tier 2, tier 3 cities and far-flung remote areas, even here in ICRISAT, I have no Reliance, I have no Airtel connection at all, right? On my dongle there, it's really a struggle. So it's very important for any platform like this to succeed. It needs to work at the lowest common denominator, which is dial-up. Right, so one audio stream along with your PowerPoint and chat and everything can consume as little as just 20 to 30 kbps. That's kilobits per second. That's how efficient Connect is. No other solution, nothing can come close to it. You try anything else, you'll need at least 256 kbps or higher, or 512 kbps, or something like that. Right, so we have on all these devices, and the best part is the mobile device automatically scales and adjusts the interface based on the device size. So if I'm on an iPhone, it will optimize the entire meeting interface for an iPhone. If I'm using an iPad, it will scale it out. If I'm using a Samsung Tab or any other Android device, it doesn't have to be those expensive ones, but anything at all. You could use that by just using a dongle. So which means even if students or anybody is traveling, now take the case of a farmer. Of course, it'll be hard to find a farmer carrying a tablet in the farmlands or anywhere, at least in India. But we are trying to work with state governments, with the citizen service centers, CSCs, so-called, where thousands are deployed in each state, which could be used as a vehicle and a medium to disseminate knowledge and training and collaboration. That is part of government to citizen services. So you could have a broadcast going across from a centralized server. They just need the browser. They don't need anything else. You just need a headset. That's it, and you're on. So anybody who wants to consult anything, that's something that even ICRISAT and I think others who you're part of that, the knowledge group to disseminate. That's another area that you could use Connect for very effectively. Right. So we talked about persistent meeting rooms. This is just an example. You could actually print. This is on the hosted platform, so this is how it goes. So it could be, say, xyz.adobeconnect.com, where XYZ is your organization name, / your personal meeting room. Right? It could be, say, Venki for me, or could be VS World or Virtual Studio or whatever, or support, anything at all. And it always stays, just like your phone number and your mail ID till the time you actually do not delete it, is there always on. I can just click on it. I need to get somebody quickly into a meeting room. I don't need to send the thing again. It's already there. I could be part of my email signature. And people can just join into the meeting room from wherever they are, and I can have a quick hands-on meeting anytime, anywhere. Right? And also the content that you left in the room, that's again very important. The content that you leave in the room remains there as it is for you to come back and start using it again. So if you're working especially on projects which require, to really take off, or rather take off from where you left off, start from there, and rather than re-establishing the entire context, you can actually have your entire material there, including the chat, including whatever files you've shared, whatever whiteboarding you've done, everything in the meeting room. You come back and you start off from there itself. You don't have to upload all that those things again. Unlike this physical room, once you step out of here, everything is going to get reset. This table probably won't be here. This will go up. Your mic microphones, projectors, everything gets reset. It doesn't happen in Connect. When you come back, you find everything as it is the way you left it. Nobody, disturbs it. So it's very, very, sometimes very important where you want to, just start off from where you left off. Right? Then customization, personalization, you can completely brand your account, give it your own identity, custom URL, you can add your own content, so you get your own private virtual space. We'll come to that. Control again. What you see here on the right, this is a custom pod which has been built, which is called Twitter Connect. It's a free pod. You can download it. What it does is it allows the host to search for hashtags. Most of us are aware of Twitter, right? So you have these hashtags. The host can search for a particular topic, and you pull up the feed from the Twitter feeds and in real time and display it over here. So sometimes when people are talking about a certain topic, you talk about social learning. Now it's not just the Facebooks and the Skypes and others and what you have, but then how do you pull relevant information and data from platforms like these? How do you include them? Right? So this is a wonderful way, and if you want to build something on your own, you could actually do that. If you want to pull in Facebook, you could use the APIs available, write your own code, and if you have developers available with you, you could actually build your own pod, whatever you want it to do. Right? The templates can be created and saved, which can be shared across the enterprise for particular meeting styles and all those as well. Now this again very important, audio integration. So we integrate, we can pull in audio from an existing audio bridge and broadcast it to all the participants. What does this mean? Today we saw there were some audio issues, it can happen anytime, right? Once you are out on the internet, you virtually have no control. You are at the mercy of the public internet. If there is, say, undersea cable cut somewhere in the Pacific, like it has happened earlier, you could be totally cut off, from civilization as we know of it today, or as we perceive it today, right? But if you have say telephone lines and somebody doesn't have access to the internet, I can create an audio bridge, have people dial into that audio bridge, pull the audio from the bridge, broadcast it to all the participants online, and so it will be heard by everybody on the speakers who are coming on VoIP, plus I can push the audio back into the phone. It's two-way communication without any additional software or hardware. So if it is, say, again, I'm trying to relate things to ICRISAT, and if you have certain use cases in mind, please do feel free to ask. Maybe there is some research scientist somewhere in the field. He has a phone, but he doesn't have internet access. But he needs to be part of the meeting or something, or whatever the discussions or collaborations that are going on. He could just come on the phone. He can still hear everything because it's two-way communication, and he's still part of the meeting. And we record everything as it is on the server if you want to. And those he can always go back once he has access to the internet and view the recording. And we retain the interactivity in the recording as well. So if I can go through the attendee pod, I can scroll through the chat, I can see the Q&As, I can even interact with the presentations, I can see who had answered in the poll, I can download files even from a recording if I've shared something. Right? And so universal voice really allows you to bring everything under one roof and integrate everything together. And we talked about, Ms. Modi spoke about the telepresence facility which is there in ICRISAT, which I think we'll be visiting there after this. Right. So what you see there is again video conferencing equipment over there. So we can pull in from a telepresence facility if it is SIP and HR 264 compliant and broadcast that video as a high quality video, what you're seeing here in this particular window here. And this is of course your standard webcam which you're seeing on the side. This of course can also go full screen. But you can have high quality video pulled in from that equipment without any additional software or hardware and broadcast it to all the participants. Right? And so there is no need of any media players, you don't need any fancy teleconference equipment. Let's face it, video conferencing equipment costs a bomb and it really connects rooms, not people. Right? Unlike solutions like Connect, which connects people and not rooms, because you could be logging in from anywhere. So we integrate with the likes of Tandbergs and Polycom and all that. Of course, that is available only for on-premise customers. Right? Recordings. Again, I think somebody asked, can we record this? Right? That's my point. Right, so you can record the meeting with the click of a button, but only the host can do that. You can record the entire meeting with complete interactivity at the server side. And these are, the recordings are indexed. So what happens is you see a screen change, Connect will automatically, we've all seen DVDs, you have these chapter menus, right, on your remote. You access a DVD and you go into, say, songs, and you can go into different scenes. So Connect has something similar for its recordings. It automatically adds indexes while the meeting is happening on its own. It detects a scene change, it will add an index over there. Or you can go into the recording once the recording is done on the server. By using just a browser, I can add indexes or bookmarks where I want, so that people can actually go to content which is relevant for them, which is of interest to them, rather than going through the entire recording and presentation linearly. That's a huge plus. Nobody else does interactive recording. Plus, I can even search for content. I can have transcripts available with me, which can be again be made available, whether it is for security compliance or for whatever reason, right? Then you can edit the recordings, because sometimes when the meeting starts, as I did today, the initial 4, 5 or 10 minutes, you're settling down. Things are not really very, before the meeting starts. You don't want those to be available in the recording to waste people's time. They should be jumping straight to business, which is the recordings which are actually carrying value or meaning. So I can edit those portions and delete them by using just the browser, without any additional software or any other application, right? So I can quickly edit the content, save it over there, or if I have something, maybe it's something confidential in the meeting which was shared, but you don't want that to be public. I can even trim that out and then just have those areas of the recording made available to people which can be shared. And it's as simple as just sharing the URL. And I can share it with individuals, it's permission-based sharing. I can assign permission who I want to share it with. Whether I want to share with individuals, I want to share it with a complete team or a group, or I want to make it publicly available. I can just publish that URL. I don't have to do anything. As soon as the recording is done, I stop it. I can just make it available to the whole world by just sharing that URL as you would on a normal website, right? And also I can download the local copies for offline viewing, which is what Mr. Modi mentioned. We have the videos on YouTube currently, which they're putting up. So it downloads as FLVs, and they can then be uploaded on YouTube for viewing by anybody. All right, then content library. This is like your so Connect also, each user gets its own space for uploading your content. Right, so you can it's like your own virtual private cloud. So you upload in the content repository, you can upload files, any content, which you can again assign permissions, share it with individuals or a group or public sharing, so that it can be reused and you don't have to upload the content again and again. There's no point something which is being used by one department. We are talking about RLOs, right? So reusable, but it's kind of gives it a whole new meaning, because not only is it reusable, but it is reusable in the true sense, because you just upload it once and you can reuse it again within Connect. So if one department is using, other departments need to use it, I just give it permissions and those departments can reuse it again. Right? So it's permissions-based security. This is how you see on the left here. These are folder structures. What you find anywhere on the desktop, so you can create folders and upload files and give permissions to a file or a complete folder itself. Compliance and control we spoke about. This is something available to the admin. So you can actually control. You want to disable desktop sharing totally. Maybe you have sensitive applications or data which is sitting on your desktop. Across the board, across the account, across the organization, I can control and disable what I don't want people to be able to share. So I can do that very easily. I can disable requests for control. I can even take control of remote desktops. Using Adobe, in fact, provides support globally using the Adobe Connect platform by taking remote control and using Connect for over VoIP or over the telephone. Right, so I can also audit communication. I can force all meetings to be recorded by default. I can generate chat transcripts for auditing. If it's security and compliance is a matter of concern, you can do all that. Right, so I can even coming back to. So this is again extending the capability of Connect. We were talking about Twitter Connect. It's just a Swift file. it's a small little Swift file which loads. It's not a heavy thing at all. This has been built on Adobe Connect, and you can of course integrate with any of your applications or platforms, be it CRM, ERP, your Active Directory as well for single sign-ons within organizations large, so that you don't have to type in, sign in separately for Connect and separate logins for if you have, within the organization. And of course, you can integrate with, we also integrate with existing LMSs if you're using any, the likes of Sakai and SumTotal and Moodle, etc. and all that. So this again, so the four essentially modules that we're talking about, deployment modules. And so Connect is again not just a platform but a complete ecosystem, because you have a whole lot of content authoring tools, and Adobe is a leader in content creation and authoring. Excuse me. So we have Adobe Presenter is a plugin for PowerPoint, which allows subject matter experts to author rich media content from PowerPoint itself, including audio, video, narration, quizzes. We support 7 types of questions, true, false, fill in the blanks, all multiple choice that you can think of, like a type survey items, match the following, hotspots, all of those right from within PowerPoint itself. So you don't have to go outside of PowerPoint. You just create and author all your content, including quizzes, to test learner comprehension and publish it to connect directly from PowerPoint itself. So you don't have to go out from there. Thank you. Then you have Adobe Captivate. Adobe Captivate is kind of, you can say, the big brother of Adobe Presenter, and that sits as a separate application on the desktop, and you can create demonstrations and simulations, advanced kind of stuff where you need to show a demonstration how to use a particular application. You can use that. Then of course we have the entire e-learning suite, which is available, which has Presenter, Captivate, Photoshop, Flash, Acrobat, all of those. It's meant for content authoring. For e-learning and all that. And of course, we have Adobe Acrobat as a separate application as well. We all know Acrobat for creating PDFs and etc. and all that. So Connect supports PDFs, PowerPoints, videos, JPEGs, images, all that natively, so that you could have interactive stuff there. And then of course you can extend the capability of Connect like I mentioned earlier. So these are some of the use cases, meetings, you could training, so you could define a complete learning path. The LMS it's a full-blown LMS. You can define a complete learning path, enroll learners, firstly deploy content as well, of course, which you uploaded in the content library that I was showing. Enroll learners, define the learning path, track learner progress, and issue certifications at the end of it. Right, setting prerequisites, sending out reminders, and the standard stuff that you find in typically deploying e-learning. Events, again, you could create nice looking landing pages with complete event management process, right from creating registration forms to sending out reminders to post event surveys, right, getting feedback from what happened in your webinar. So you can do a complete thing. So you have a small little bio of the speaker being sent along with the mail, a registration form without any programming. You can customize in case you want to retain that. You have an engagement meter to actually check how people are interacting with your content, and a lot more. Right, and then of course if you want to do large webcasts beyond one typical Connect meeting, I think there's also a question of what is the capacity of how many people can come into a meeting room. We have a standard named host license which allows up to 100 participants including the host. If you want to go beyond 100, we have the Adobe Seminar Room, which starts with minimum 200 seats and can scale up to 1500 seats in a single meeting room. Right, so you can have large seminars or meeting rooms with up to 1500 participants. If you want to go beyond 1500, you have the webcast offering, which is not available. It is available on a per event basis, and which can scale up to 80,000 participants. So you can have people joining in from. It's hosted by Adobe on Adobe servers. It's a global infrastructure, so you can have up to 80,000 participants joining it. Right, so this is again content created in Adobe Presenter. You have your entire slides. You can have the speaker, small little photograph here along with the name, and also a complete table of contents here, so people can jump in directly, and your quizzes and everything as well. Then of course we have the hosted platform. So I think there was some clarity which, so this is again, we support both the models. Adobe actually hosts the service for you. There is no server to be bought, nothing. It's an annual subscription. You buy it and you start using it the moment your account is up and running. Right, so the entire updates, the bandwidth, the storage, everything is taken care of by Adobe. Right, and then you have the on-premise, which is what ICRISAT has as well. You can buy the server, license the application and deploy it behind your firewall within your own infrastructure, which is what the likes of IGNU, Jamia Millia Islamia, we have NIT, University, a lot of others, Public Health Foundation of India, IMT Ghaziabad, they are all using on-premise versions of Adobe Connect. Managed services has the best of both, but there is a certain minimum deal size that you require, in which it's a single tenant hosted platform, but managed by Adobe or one of its partners like us maybe, but it requires a minimum deal size in order for that to happen. So you get best of both the worlds. It's, you don't worry about the hosting or the infrastructure. Here it is your own dedicated infrastructure, right? This again, just now the analyst report, if you can see here, we are uniquely placed right on the top as a leading product and leading vendor by Infotech. And virtually it was the best user experience amongst all. So of course there are other players as well. So these are third-party independent reports, not paid and not doctored. So these are actually analyst reports which are truly correct. Gartner again, we are there in the leaders segment. And user experience, again, that's time and time again something which is the underlying or USP. Given everything being equal, it is end of the day is the user experience that matters, which can really kill a project even before it takes off. You might have something which is absolutely free. You might have something super expensive, super fancy in terms of technology and everything. But if it comes as a dud as far as user experience goes, it'll die even before it can grow into anything or mature. So the key important thing is that the users who are coming on using the platform, do they love the experience? Right? Is that experience engaging enough for them to stay glued on? Like, this is not an engaging experience. I'm talking, it's a one-way thing, right? Everybody's listening, and soon I think we'll be entering into lunch hours and things and all that, so people will, everybody's interest levels will go down and fade away. So it's not awesome, but that's something that Connect excels in, right? Of course, it doesn't give you any lunch or coffee or tea or anything, but anyway. All right, so this is Forrester again. You see the maps, a lot of dots and things. I'll skip these. This is Rena's research again. Connect for top marks for their distance training. So that's a commonality amongst all the analyst reports that Adobe Connect is the leading web conferencing and e-learning platform. Which is confirmed by everyone. So this is a little, okay, sorry. Let's go back. Yeah, so today organizations are using different varied, silos for communication. One end you have PABX, then you have audio conferencing for voice, again. Video, you have video conferencing and teleconference or telepresence. Then you have, of course, data which runs, which is using web conferencing, instant messaging, and email as well. Right now, so the promise of unified communications is that you integrate everything in the enterprise under one platform. This is exactly what Adobe Connect does. We can, like I mentioned, we can pull in audio from virtually any audio conferencing or platform, right? It doesn't have to be the branded ones like TGI, Avaya, the Intercalls and the Arcadins and all that. It could be a simple BSNL, it could be an MTNL, it could be a Tata, it could be an Airtel, it could be anybody. We work with any of those platforms, which means I can pull in the audio from the audio bridge, broadcast it to all the participants online, and push the audio back into the phone. So you can have a mix of people coming via voice, right, in the web conferencing, or people coming via any of these, whether it is an audio bridge or any other audio conferencing provider. right? And also integrating with XMPP pod and OCS. I mean, I don't think I should get into this or not, but if you're using any XMPP based chat rooms or programs, so you can actually see who's coming on the chat, and you can, they can jump in directly and scale into a rich meeting from those XMPP chat pods. Okay, so this is how the benefits. So it's seamless integration, extension. That's the bottom line. Again, integration. We've already talked about this, so I'll skip. And again, there was another question whether the video is streaming. Yes, it is 100% streaming. There's no download, which we saw as well. So if there's any video, anything that you do, it just streams across. There are no massive video downloads at the client side at all. And it's truly, streaming experience, which again can start from as little as a dial-up. These are some of the extensions, LMS integrations. We integrate with most of the LMSs which are out there. We don't force you to use our own LMS. We are built on open standards, right? These are the some of the audio bridge providers that we have advanced integration with. So wherein I can mute the participant, I can put the participant on hold right from Connect itself, or I can have Connect dialogue to the participant as well on a phone. Yeah. Then we also have integrations with various CRMs like Salesforce, Eloqua, and also Marketo. So you could use, say, if you're using any of these or such CRM platforms, you could have your own as well, right? You can integrate with using the API. So you want to build in, you create a registration form in any of these. The data will automatically get pulled into such CRM systems. Right, so this is again, I'll just skip this. Then these are some of the extensions which have been made. Just a small, star rating for a meeting. So this has been built. You just upload it, and people can quickly give you a star rating and gives you a quick insight into how your meeting went. It's a free, pod which has been created. So just using simple, APIs and pods. So this is the file cabinet. So this is something interesting again. This could be used for students to upload their assignments. So within a meeting room, you have a folder structure or a filing cabinet kind of a system. So each user can upload, say, but that's a problem with many people ask, how do you use virtual conferencing platforms for taking back, you give an assignment to students or learners, how do you get them back? Right? Where do they upload? Because anybody, if they upload, it can be seen by anyone. So you have extensions like these which can extend the capability of Connect and help you achieve and do a lot more, whatever that you want to do. Right? So before and after you can upload folders, files within different folders over here. Very interesting. This is how it works. So you can actually see who had uploaded, by whom, when was it created, what is the size, and what is the type of file which has been uploaded. Right? I thought I was the only one feeling very hot. I'm wearing a jacket also. Okay. Thank you whoever put on the AC. Okay, all right, so you're done with this. MP3 player. This is again very interesting. You find this is a free pod which you can upload, and you can upload songs or something before the meeting starts. And it's interesting because it allows an unsynchronized listening experience. So I can actually, I don't have to listen what the host or presenter is wanting me to listen. Maybe I might like some reggae music, but somebody's put on some classical music or Beethoven symphony, which I might not like. So, but if I have a choice, I can listen to whatever I want to. So kind of just keeps the whole meeting room, engaged and interesting. So it could be a message by somebody or anything interesting, and it's up to you how you want to use it. Right. Again, it's a free pod. So there are a lot of such free extensions you won't find on any other platform. This again is KSIConnect is again a free custom pod built on top of Connect. You can have quick quizzes just by putting in real time within the meeting room itself. You can upload and have, and based on how quickly you respond to the question, you're graded based on that. Right, so the faster you respond, of course, the answer has to be correct. The faster you respond, and your marks and things will be graded based on that. So again, interesting. Right, this is Twitter Connect that we were talking about. The host defines the term. We've already gone through it. So we'll pick up the entire the Twitter feeds coming in, and they'll be going into the pod itself, to kind of gives you a quick insight into what people are talking, what the conversation is going about for that topic if you're doing. If it's a crop research, somebody's already tweeting about it somewhere, you can pick that tweet up, put it over there. Or you could send your tweet out and saying that, hey, this is the, live webinar or something that's going on. Why don't you join in into this Connect session? Right? So you could really use Connect the way you want to. This is again a countdown timer. This is again free custom pod. Before the meeting starts, you could upload this. Just gives a, whoever logs in, they're not just staring at the, blank Connect meeting room, but they actually know that the meeting is going to start in 15 minutes or so. This is again Rochambeau. This is for those who know, the rock, paper and scissors. You can play the Rochambeau game. This is again built on Connect. Multiple people. This is stage life. This is again important. I don't know if I've run out of my time or it's still on. But well, this does exactly that. So this can be put into the presenter only area, and the light will stay, stage light will stay green till the time you are within your time. As soon as you are approaching your time, it will turn orange, and the moment you are done with your time, it will turn red. This doesn't show to the participants. I mean, it depends where you're showing it. But Connect has, we'll see that in the demo, we have something called as a presenter only area. So that area is visible only to the presenters. So you can put it at the side, the participants don't get to see it, but people who tend to overshoot their times and things, or private, it helps people to stick within their time zone, by the time that has been allocated to them. Then this is again a .NET SDK kind of to integrate various stuff, SharePoint and all. If you want to integrate with Connect, you will integrate SharePoint and everything. So this is again a .NET SDK which has been made, and I think it's a free one. Then you have events in Salesforce. You can actually do all that. So these are just some of the examples, and I'll just skip through this. But just to give you an idea of what the Connect platform is capable of. Right? So this is Connect Cube. This again interesting. So ICRISAT here is putting up all the videos on YouTube. A lot of organizations are using YouTube, creating their own channel, uploading your videos, and having users subscribe to them. Now, you could use this pod, bring it into the share pod, and pull up videos from YouTube rather having them to upload into the Connect meeting room. First, you have to download from YouTube. All that, it's an FLV and MP4. Of course, you can use it within a Connect meeting room. But this extension allows you to have a playlist based on the search term that you put in here. It can pull up the videos or complete playlist, and you can play that within the meeting room. Isn't that cool? I hope maybe you people are still awake. If you find it too much of download, please let me know. I'll stop. I'll be happy to stop. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Right? Before the shutters actually go down. All right. So this is something that you can really keep your meeting rooms engaging. Again, I am not playing any YouTube videos here, so possibly this is not an engaging meeting. But you know how to keep your meetings and your webinars or your meeting rooms engaging, and so that people don't doze off. All right. So the benefit of this, like I mentioned, you don't have to download and upload, but you could share it in real time. You just search for anything and you just pull it in, and share the videos. Then this is again, we have adapters. If somebody is using, anybody using Moodle here in any of the universities, you are. So we have many times we have this question, the Connect is proprietary. Anybody has this, and we had this even with Ministry of HRD, and we were actually fighting with them for a nationwide deployment. So they said, no, we want open source. We said, open source is one thing, but the notion that open source does not cost anything or does not give you binding is quite incorrect, in my opinion. Because you firstly need a team of developers and things to support the platform, to build, manage, deploy, to keep it running, and you are dependent on the open source community. All right, PHP, everything, MySQL, of course, now acquired by Oracle. You have many such platforms and technologies which are open source, which are still there and thriving. The likes of Drupal and Joomla and WordPress and most of it out there. And I'm absolutely for it. In fact, we use all of those open source technologies as well. But the trouble with something like this is that what happens if somebody, development stops or something happens. And then the notion that other platforms would not allow you to talk or extend the functionality. Well, Connect allows you to integrate, since it's based on open standards. You can use Connect for the live virtual classroom, and I can use Moodle as my LMS at the back end. We don't force you to use our LMS. You can use any third-party LMS which is common AICC compliant. We have adapters for most of them. And it works amazingly well. You can, single seamless sign-on, works for both hosted and licensed, auto-launch classrooms and recordings. So you use Connect for the live piece, and you use Moodle for your LMS part. And a lot of organizations already invested in LMSs, right? It's not right to really ask them to just forget about the investments and start from scratch. Nobody will do it. Or even if they want to do it, I mean, if there is a better way of doing it, then why not? So we actually, allow to do that. So some of them are extensions, are paid, some of them are free, depending upon who's the third party who's made them, right? Then this is again some of the extensions which have been made by third party for CP, CLE compliance, which again, for I think we are based more for compliance purposes, where you need to have attendance and everything recorded, when and all that. Carbon and frame footprints, there are many of these. Proctored testing, flex exam, this is actually built around that. You can have completely proctored exams happening up to 100 within Connect. This is an add-on. Of course, what IGNOU did was, something different, but this is actually which allows you to control the entire aspect of proctored examination. So you can actually use Connect for proctored examination. This is again same footprints carbon calculator. So it actually put in the distance, so it tells you within an enterprise how much money you are actually saving. So who is the attendee from where they're located, and based on the distance, you just calculate in terms of flights how much it's going to cost, for a flight from there to here. It looks up in real time and it gives you a sample that, all right, if you were to travel for this meeting, so many attendees from so many locations, this is the kind of savings you're going to do. So you can always, take this, and I'm sure if there anybody from the finance team sitting here, they'll be more than happy to see the numbers, how much you can save them here. And of course, you're doing good for the Mother Earth as well by reducing your carbon footprint. Right, so then a lot of other such interactions which are there, hands up, you have emoticons of course which you can use, but then you can create your own, you have the timers, surveys and everything. So a lot of such third party, interactions which are there. Right, so these are diagnostic tools as well to see, who is logging in from where. This Podzilla, this is again a paid pod, so it actually sees who's got what platform are they coming from, because supporting users also coming onto these platforms is a challenge. End of the day, they're all coming on public internet, and if it doesn't work, they start blaming the platform, or it doesn't work. But the problem could be anything. You need to identify what the issue is. This helps you to do exactly the same thing, right? Identify, run a diagnostic. Then you have integrated telephony as well. You can call out numbers and things. This is again a pod created by a third party, which actually integrates, and you can call from Connect itself. Anybody you can call out, recognizing there's no code conferencing. You don't have to put in anything and just calls out. So a lot of advanced third party extensions. This again enables, this is a pod which allows you to do high definition web conferencing. Many people want, and you can do a lot of stuff. You can control the actual width size, bit rate, everything within Connect itself, and have a playlist as well. Even bring in videos, from other platforms like YouTube and others, and bring it into Connect. You can even have a watermark, your own logo. You have previews which are here. You can bring in any, do live switching. So you just have one video coming in, and a lot of others. So many people want this kind of production values, so you can actually have that. No other platform, nothing gives you this kind of facility to extend the capability of Connect. This is again survey feedbacks, standard stuff. So we've kind of more or less done. So this again, like I mentioned, the White House and others also, they used Adobe Connect for conducting all their sessions across the world. And these are just some of the, again, extensions which are there. This is the XMPP chat we're talking about. If you're using Jabber or ADM or something like that, Connect can actually pull in and you can chat, using and integrate that with Connect and pull in participants from external XMPP-based chat programs as well. We support closed captioning. I don't know if that's a mandate. It does ICRISAT. Do you need to have, from accessibility standpoint, do you need to have your content available for people?
Nature of meeting. Like I mentioned, if it's a recruitment seminar, then you can't record it and make it available to the public. So that will be available only to the committee members for reference and all that. Otherwise, most of the academic seminars, the presenters will be very happy, when you share it with the world.
Right.
So then everything we share, PowerPoint presentation, abstract, documents. So this is how we use this platform.
Yeah. So you could also use closed captioning as well for people who are, say, hearing impaired or anything else. So from accessibility standpoint, you could actually have the entire transcript as well downloaded. So it's a free app which can be put in over there for anybody who's speaking. I don't think we want to get into this. I'll skip this. So any question? I think I'm more or less done from. Yeah, please, absolutely.
First question is regarding generation of webinar.
Right.
See, one live session is done, some lecture or e-learning is taught, where question answers and everything was raised, given answer. What is the process to generate webinar using Adobe Connect? That is one question. Somewhere I read that there were issues regarding rendering of flash on some of the devices. I don't know whether it was on Apple devices or what, but now people are preferring e-books on varieties of devices. And there were issues regarding Adobe Flash as e-books.
Right.
And third question is regarding licensing modules. You have so many modules and plugins and everything. So what is the basic version and what are the add-ons from commercial point of view?
I think the first question I think is the webinar one. So we have a module which sits on top of meeting module, and that allows you to conduct and create an entire online event. Right. So right from creating a landing page or a microsite for the event, what the event is about, what is the agenda, who are the speakers, a little bio about them. Then you might have a registration form. You might want people to register to capture their details. Based on certain criteria, you might want to give them access, allow them or disallow them from attending the webinar. And then post event as well, you want to send out reminders, of course, before the event starts to ensure that they're there and they don't it's there at the top of their mind, and they are into the webinar once they register. And then post the event, you want to get a feedback or do a survey, post-event survey. So the webinar module, or the events module is what it's called, allows you to manage this entire process. Right? So you can create a registration form without writing a single line of code, then customize it based on the fields that you want. And that webinar event could be anything. Could be a meeting, could be a training session, could be something, an open enrollment or anything at all, or just a lead generation as well. So the event module is what will allow you to do this, apart from the meeting module which we saw in the morning session as well, which allows that interaction and the live session or the web conference collaboration happen. Does that answer the first part? Second was regarding Flash, yeah. So Flash, of course, we know, like I mentioned, on the Mac it's not an issue, but on mobile devices like iOS, iDevices, which is your iPhones and iPads, we don't have Flash play there, right, because Apple has stopped talking to it. That simple as that. But the way around that is that the Connect has been built on Adobe Air platform, which is Adobe Integrated Runtime. So which is the platform for creating standalone apps. So think of Connect like a smartphone. Right? So you can create apps and anything, And the Adobe Air allows you to package the application for any mobile device, whether it's on Android, whether it is Apple or BlackBerry. So we have the free app available which you can download. Now as far as content is concerned, again, you can either create an app or we have something called as the Digital Publishing Suite, DPS. DPS has InDesign, and along the way we've also introduced, it's been there now for some time, a lot of, if you go to a lot of these publications, I don't know if you've seen Hindustan Times, Mint is their application, which is built on DPS. A lot of publishing houses are moved to DPS to create mobile versions of their content. Right? You need to reach out, so you create your stuff in InDesign without writing a single line of code or very little if at all. You can create a mobile version of your content. Could be a magazine, could be anything at all. So it doesn't use this Flash, but it becomes compatible with mobile devices which can then be downloaded. You can publish it as an EPUB or for consumption on mobile devices, be the likes of Kindle and others and all that, or a Mobi, or even a simple PDF, of course. So I don't know how many of you are aware that PDFs today can include complete interactivity in them. A PDF document, I can have Flash, video, audio, quizzes, everything. So Adobe Presenter, by the way, which is a plugin for PowerPoint, allows you to author content from PowerPoint and publish it not just to connect, but I can also publish it as a standalone content in a PDF file with complete interactivity. So I don't have to worry about people downloading the complete folder structure, file structure, or that exe is missing, but you have to put it in the same order, same hierarchy, nothing required. And you can distribute it very easily. And all that people need is a free Acrobat reader, right? So, and you have interactivity, you can make it secure, password protected in case you want to. You can even have forms within it, you can have quizzes, you can have video, audio, animation, PowerPoint, any other material as an attachment which can be downloaded and opened as well. So there is no limit. So all that is happening right from PowerPoint, right? Or I can publish it as an exe file to be burned on a CD or a DVD, which can be played and distributed to people. So there are three ways that you can author content from PowerPoint using Adobe Presenter. And you're all subject matter experts. You don't need to, run to a developer or a designer or anybody else, and you can do it on your own laptop or your own machine wherever you are by just using PowerPoint, nothing more. I'm sorry, which was? Yeah, so that's that's kind of complicated. I mean, offhand, say a base. There's the hosted platform and the on-premise. On the hosted, for academic institutions, for recognized universities, and ICRISAT, of course, also falls under the same, and I think all of you around here would come under that category. We have educational pricing, which is almost one-fourth the commercial pricing. So a one-time setup fee for the hosted for about, with the current dollar exchange at about 37,000 rupees, plus that's a one-time fee, and then each Connect meeting room costs about, I think about 13.5 or 14,000 rupees per annum. So which means one meeting host license can have up to 100 participants. And of course you have on-premise as well, which starts at about 4.5 lakhs for the server, which you can deploy, plus other licenses are similar. Then you have training licenses. You have a whole lot. So I mean, I'd be happy to take it offline if you have a requirement.
We can take offline.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Suppose one lecturer want to deliver the lecture from the one place, and there are five or 10 groups of the farmers placed in different places. Is it possible to use the Adobe Connect to have an healthy discussion with directly scientists to the farmers and extension workers at the same time? It will, because it is very much necessary that how this tool can be useful for the grassroots level for the farmers.
Interesting. I mean, you mentioned this. In fact, I was just even during my presentation I was mentioning and discussing with Dilip as well earlier that ICRISAT and organizations like yours, like we are trying to do our bit and work with state government. So I don't know, as for the farmer's concerned, number one, of course, he needs to either have a mobile device or something with him, either Connect loaded on top of it. If somebody's there with him in the field, yes. But he could be brought online and discussion could be done using the phone and Connect as well. Right? So, but if he's going, say, to with the Indian context, if he's going, say, to a citizen service center, which are there in all districts, that even at the Gram Panchayat level. So, there you have a kiosk or computer or machine. I don't need to deploy Connect there. I just need to connect back to the server, maybe located at the state headquarters for the particular state, or maybe at the national level at one central location, depending on how you want to implement it. Now, given that the states, of course, they have their mandate and they deploy, and the CSCs and the citizen government services are primarily driven by the state itself, so I would imagine this will be deployed at the state. At the state, servers could actually have Connect deployed, and the farmer could be at the CSC, and he would just be talking and discussing his issues, whatever there, and the researcher could be somewhere else. They just need to be able to connect, get into the meeting room. You could have somebody from ICRISAT in Africa, or somebody in the US, or somebody in any university or here, and anywhere, and they can just connect. There's no problem at all. If somebody doesn't have access to the server, he can even call him using the audio bridge and still be part of that discussion. Surely you can do that. No problem. Any other questions or? Yes, ma'am.
PowerPoints and all, Adobe Presenter it is using.
Right.
There is one open source software I heard, Zerte. It is also somewhat like Adobe Presenter.
Right.
Whether it is able to co-opt that.
Within Connect, can you use that content in Connect? Is that your question?
Yes, if we develop everything in Zerte.
Right. I don't. Yeah.
Maybe it will co-opt that kind of thing, because when we put the PowerPoint, it is in the Adobe Presenter mode.
Right.
Isn't it? That's why you are able to upload audio, video, or make it into quizzes. So all those application is coming for Adobe Presenter. Similar kind of thing is there in Zerte also. And whether this will take up that kind of
content? Well, if the software is outputting SCOM and AICC compliant, Connect can take content from anywhere. You can have even custom developed content, doesn't have to be from Presenter or Captivate. Could be any other, even if you're programming on your own, it's fine. There's no problem at all. As long as it is SCOM and AICC compliant, which is what the e-learning standards are. So if it is that, Connect can track, because you need reporting. You need to see the interactions which are taking place, and Connect needs to be able to track them and report them back. Right? You can only do that if the content is SCOM and AICC compliant. Otherwise, I can upload any content. I can upload an image as well. But that image is not AICC or SCOM compliant because it's an image. But the moment it gets married, yes, I know that somebody has viewed the image. But if I have a PowerPoint and I have a quiz, the quiz needs to be SCOM or AICC compliant for Connect to track and report back. If you're told that you're mentioning, I'm sorry, I don't have idea. I mean, if you can mention the name, I can have it looked up. But if it does create AICC and SCOM compliant content, Connect can definitely track it. No problem.